Yeah, no, it's not. How did those start?
Did Marissa mention anything to the chief?
I left a woman Erin at home. Five. She was there and that's
So you can put it.
Yeah, I said.
I did.
Lucy, tell me when we're ready to go.
That's.
Should be able to use that remote and move the camera itself.
I don't know why it,
Otherwise, just get it as good as we can get it and go on.
Okay, we'll open the business session of the Woodend School Board. Our first agenda item tonight is student and staff recognition.
Just a quick note, girls basketball season actually concluded last night. I had girls basketball ended their season, I believe it was 7 wins, 12 losses with last night. 19 games played this year, and the boys team has a couple of games to go yet in the regular season and begins the playoffs on Tuesday. So that's it for student recognition at the moment.
The president's report tonight, 4 of our 5 members are in attendance. John is unable to be here tonight. The next board meeting will be the 10th of March, correct? Are we going to be back to the elementary school by then?
We're hoping to be.
Okay, very good. Administrative reports. Report on SSER Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief, Superintendent Cronin.
My report this evening, it's going to be brief, but it's going to focus on what is known by a lot of people as the CARES Act funding, but otherwise in the school world is ESSER, or the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief. In the late spring, early summer, the district received a grant allocation from the federal ESSER program of $63,595. And we've utilized every red cent of that program at this point on things such as our HVAC system upgrade to improve air quality in the building, personal protective equipment and supplies, technology equipment related to trying to do online and virtual instruction, other medical and cleaning supplies. So that money, the big ticket item in that group, in that $63,000, was the HVAC upgrades that we did. ESSER 2 was the second relief COVID package that was passed this past December. The second round, at the moment, we are believing we're going to receive about $250,000. The state legislature's Joint Finance Committee has to sign off on that plan. The amount that we are allocated, though, is one of the unnegotiable amounts in that plan, meaning it was determined by the federal formulas that are used for our title. There are some other monies, a part of that plan, that are discretionary to a certain degree. And so the DPI and the Joint Finance Committee of the legislature have to come to some level of understanding as to what that looks like. But really our allocation is, it's pretty much going to be about $250,000. In the second round of funding, we're looking to continue to offset technology costs. We've purchased a lot of Chromebooks, a lot of other technology pieces, and done some things for our networking to allow for us to do virtual and do some online things that we hadn't planned on doing. I mean, at this point, we've put a Chromebook, or made available a Chromebook, for every student grade 2 through 12. And prior to this year, we were 9 through 12. So that's quite an expense. Extra nursing costs. Our nursing costs have gone up, so we can funnel some of those costs over into the ESSER 2 program, along with our extra maintenance position that we had brought on. That can be part of the ESSER 2. Additional personal protective equipment, cleaning items. It is quite a long list, including some of the plumbing upgrades we did to go hands-free or touchless on a lot of our plumbing. Those things can be added in there. At the end of the day, we would like to carry forward somewhere to the tune of $80,000 to $100,000 as we finish out this year's budget into next year out of that ESSER 2 funding, to look at things like if we need to address any remedial items or intervention items, and again, if there's any other outstanding costs that we think we're going to incur for, if we're still needing personal protective equipment or other cleaning supplies and some of those items. Really probably the biggest fear I have and what's happened in terms of the educational side of things is the students who have been for 11 months in the virtual world, or maybe not quite 11 in terms of true school months, but they've spent most of this school year and the end of last school year in a virtual system, whether they're our own students or even more so, transfer students in. If we get students who transfer into our district next fall, there's a distinct possibility we get students who haven't been in a classroom in over a year. And so that worries me. And so I think it's would be wise to carry some of that forward to potentially address some of those problems. We have the ability to carry forward ESSER 2 funding for up to 2 years. So then there is a distinct possibility that there will be a third round of this emergency relief funding for schools. And we don't know those dollar amounts yet. It is, from the looks of what I've seen so far and heard from some of the different legislative connections that we have, it's likely to be a significant amount. Again, 250,000 is not a drop in the bucket for us on this. But I will tell you, in terms of our trying to address COVID in a whole bunch of different ways across the spectrum, it certainly has been an expensive proposition. Money that I think people thought was saved in the spring, in the fall was not saved any longer. There's certainly some things we probably have budgeted for this year to keep some semblance of our traditional budget moving forward that we'll have some savings on, but there are certainly other areas where we have, just the simple fact of trying to bring technology up, it's been a major expense. So that's my report on the ESSER funds and where we are at the moment with it.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Superintendent Jordan? All right, moving on to the Life Tools Group report from Principal Kristen.
Life Tools is a social emotional group that has just recently been started at our elementary school. It was a grant that Mrs. Lizitz, our guidance counselor, applied for and received. It's a newer group that was developed by a psychologist at Marshfield Clinic. It's an after-school program for youth, and it's just kind of a stepping stone to collaborate between school and parents and the community, to talk about healthy preventative care and healthy development socially and emotionally. Marshfield Clinic is funding the program, and it is 2 8-week sessions. The first one is for girls, and the second one is for boys. It's for kiddos that are kind of what we call our tier 1 and tier 2 students only. This is not for kids that have big social emotional issues. It is not group therapy. They do not ask kids personal questions about their lives or their home life or family. They don't evaluate or diagnose kids. It's more of a tool where they can learn practical skills for their day-to-day lives. They talk about, they have 8 60-minute sessions after school. They talk about self-awareness, like knowing their strengths and limitations, confidence, optimism, growth mindset, self-management, managing stress, controlling impulses, achieving goals, relationship skills, communicating, listening, cooperating, negotiating conflict, offering help, So the whole idea is to have, help kids be more successful at home and in school and the community. So we are on week 3, and Mrs. Lazitza and Ms. Sorbo is helping her, and they're doing it Mondays after school, and so far the kids have loved it and have had a really good time. We started out with the girls, and then they'll move to the boys. So there was a very good turnout and participation in it so far. So
How many students?
good question. Right now, I don't know. There was probably most of our, I think we did third graders. I think they're doing right now. 3rd and 4th graders. Good question. I should have asked how many were there last time. There was a good group of maybe 15 girls I think there, 15 and 20 that I saw when I was peeking in on them. So yeah, no, it was a good group. I can find out and let you know how many girls ended up being in the group.
Did the kids attend with their parents?
No, the parents get a sheet of what happened that day, and the syllabus, and they sign it, and the parents pick them up after. And they of course have a snack while they're there and all that fun stuff, and then the parents get some things that they can take home to practice at home with their kids.
It's like a great program.
It does. Any questions for Ms. Christie? Next on the agenda, a report on CTE month from Principal Children.
Well, you know, you hear on the radio, there's Puppy Day or Chocolate Day. Well, Kyle told me that it's CTE month, so I had to do some research. Here at school, it's for career technical education, and it's for the month of February to explore their achievements and accomplishments to celebrate. We here at Port also have to celebrate a grant that Mr. Spencer wrote for $2,500 that came to us from Midstate. So we have 2 reasons to celebrate. We have 3 teachers in our CTE area that have been going strong and are strengthening and building every year, or every semester, I should say. And again, that's Steve Burno in Tech Ed, Gary Spencer in Business Ed, and Marissa Rabischi in Family Consumer Services. And she is going to share a couple things that are going on right now in those areas.
CTE at John Edwards is thriving. We have a wide selection of classes in multiple career pathways, top to our business, technology education, and family consumer science departments. We offer classes where students are getting lifelong learning and career applicable skills. Several of our classes offer dual credit through Midstate Technical College, allowing our students to earn credits both here at school and at Midstate. I'm currently teaching 1 class called Nutrition for Healthy Living, and we'll be adding a 2nd dual credit class, Mental Health and Stress Management, next year. Students who take both of these will leave here with 6 credits in Midstate's Health and Wellness Associate's Degree Program. Not only will the credits be earned at Midstate, but there are many 4-year universities who accept these credits, including UWSP, as part of their Health and Wellness undergraduate bachelor's degree. The best part is whether they choose to use the credits right away or 20 years from now, they will be there at Midstate waiting for them to help give them a head start in other programs. They can also use them outside of those health and wellness areas for like elective credits in a lot of different programs. So even if they're not choosing that as their career pathway, it still gives them that extra added bonus going into school. Steve Burno wanted me to share that currently our Tech Ed department offers high school students 15 classes to choose from in 6 different career areas. This allows students to find direction in a potential career that will be highly rewarding to them in the future. He further shared that the Department of Labor statistics say there have been 705,000 new apprenticeships nationwide since 2017, and hundreds of thousands of job openings in CTE-related fields. Our students here at John Edwards are further helped in CTE with participation in FBLA and Skills USA. Both of these organizations have high participation among our JEHS students. Students are learning leadership skills and being able to network with other students, as well as community and business partners. Students also have the opportunity to do work study and apprenticeships through our CTE programs. And these cooperative efforts with local businesses and industries strengthen our relationships with the community and enable our students to fully experience the world of work and learn through experience with their on-the-job training. CTE plays an extremely important part in preparing our students for life after high school by giving them valuable skills and giving them that leg up in the world of work as well as in higher education. So I hope that you will take a moment and reflect on the exciting and important things happening in our CTE. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Principal Schiller or Immersion?
Sounds like lots of opportunities here. Wonderful.
Well, would you hazard a guess as to what percentage of the John Edwards student body takes a class in one of those three areas at some point during their school career? Is it virtually everyone?
I would say virtually everyone, yes.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Just everyone.
That's great. Thank you very much. Questions, comments from people in attendance tonight? Anybody wish to address the board on any issue? Not hearing any, we will move on to the consent agenda. Consider approval of the minutes of the past meeting, January 13th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. The consent agenda, financial reports, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Do we have gifts, Lisa?
I guess I have two to report. Jenny Oliver brought another bag of hand-knit hats over to the elementary school again. And Kara, I think, would like to just extend a thank you to the Boys and Girls Club for a can drive that they did to donate to our backpack program at the holidays. Anything to add to that, Kara?
Yeah, they had just wanted to do something at the Boys and Girls Club after school, so the unit director started just a can drive. And they, we have a backpack program on our weekend, to send home with kids on the weekend, so they decided that they were just going to donate it right back to our school. So I thought that was very nice of our Boys and Girls Club local unit to support our own elementary.
Do you know how many students get backpack meals?
We have about 4 families right now, and, you know, we'll look to expand it, as we have the funds, and, you know, we're looking right now as to, we have some ideas as to how we're gonna keep that funding going, as well as keep that moving, through into the future. Because it started with a grant, and we're gonna we've got some ideas. We've had some great donations too. Some Ocean Spray they can earmark juice to give to certain places, and we've had a lot of people that work there that have earmarked it to go to us, so that's helped us. There's lots of places where we've been getting things, so it's been pretty successful so far.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you very much. There is no unfinished business, so moving on to new items. Consider approval of amendment to the 21-22 first.
Motion for the financial reports.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Excuse me. Motion for the financial reports.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second on the consent agenda financials. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we move to new business. Consider approval of amendment to the 21-22 course description book.
I will turn that item over to Ms. Schroeder.
We are here proposing some new classes to the high school handbook in conjunction with Mid-State dual credits. We have 3 teachers that have applied or been approved through the Mid-State program to teach their classes here for dual credits. That being Tammy Griffith, Carla Leonard, and Tim Miller. They have just recently begun their 18-credit journey on to be allowed to teach and have that certification and align that curriculum. Well, they're doing their 18 credits, and then this summer they'll work on aligning Mid-State's curriculum with classes that they're teaching here. Ms. Moore and Mrs. Neave have been working on the handbook and getting that all aligned so they match, and next couple weeks they'll be meeting with the kids and making sure that they know those are offered. This is going to be a win-win situation for everybody. The students will be able to stay here, take those classes, spend less time on the road, or have to have prep time to drive there, or, you know, some of them are virtual right now. They will earn credits here at school with their teachers they're familiar with. And, you know, I think the idea that they can ask them questions or meet with them and be in person more regularly than in a state class. So the students will benefit here. They'll be earning credits that they can either take to, like Mr. Bishke said, to mid-state, or most of them, I think all of them, transfer to UW classes. And they, you know, can look into that and get that approved with Ms. Moore at the colleges before they take them. So, and the teachers, I mean, it kind of benefits their education, gets them going with new curriculum, and we were kind of laughing that when they retire, we talked to Mr. Miller, we said, hey, when you retire, you could go be an adjunct professor at Mid-State if you wanted for a class or two. So like I said, it's a win-win. Morgan, our MSTC coordinator that meets with us this week, came in like all excited. She said she's got a multitude number of schools that she works with. No other school has tripled their number of teachers and their classes that they're offering in this amount of time. So she was really impressed with us, happy with us. And I think that's it. So we sat down with all three of the teachers, Ms. Moore and myself, and we looked at the classes we're offering and the classes we want to bring in. Obviously, we can't do that all at once. They're all looking at about 2 or 3 classes. We talked to them what makes sense, what fits in their curriculum, and that's what she's going to come to the table with, the proposal, what the teachers feel comfortable with, and what we think we can fit in our schedule for fall.
Correct.
Yeah. So as we pick courses, we try to pick ones that are all of them are transferable to Mid-State, obviously, they come as credits from Mid-State, but they're transferable to UW institutions. There's an agreement between the tech schools and the UWs that there's a certain number of courses that are transferred. So as we look at courses, we try to pick courses that were transferable at the 100 level or above. It depends on what college you're looking at, exactly what it transfers in as. So Mr. Miller is going to be cutting out a semester course. He teaches current issues 1 and 2. It was really kind of the same course, but it's project based, so he had put it into 2 semesters. He's going to put that down to just current issues 1, so the students still have the opportunity to take that course. And then he's going to offer next year introduction to sociology, and the following year he'll offer introduction to diversity studies. That we may come to in the future and change how we do that or offer both in a year. It's really going to depend on how the students register and where that need is. And also, obviously, Mr. Miller still has to teach our 10th grade classes and some things like that have to be offered. We have some financial literacy courses, those are going to have to be offered. Both of those courses transfer as 100 or 200 level courses typically. It's not a perfect science until we know where a kid is actually going, and a lot of times they're not deciding until partway through senior year, so we do the best we can, and put kids in a lot of generals, so that way, we know they'll transfer something, we just don't know exactly what until we have that clear picture of where they're going. So that's Mr. Miller, again, sociology and diversity studies. These will be for 11th and 12th grade students, and they did put, 80% or better for his courses or instructor approval. For Tammy, she will be offering introductory statistics, that's a semester-long course, and then she'll also offer intermediate algebra with applications. Both of those are transferring at 100 to 200 level course to UW institutions. Obviously they transfer to other tech schools as well. Tammy typically teaches integrated 3, that's your year-long course. What will happen next year is it looks like Mrs. Martin will end up taking that integrated 3 course because we don't have students that will be taking health next year. There weren't any juniors in pre-calc this year, so that course would be open anyways. This is something as we look forward to the schedule in the future. It'll be fluid, and we'll basically just kind of have to see what needs to be offered based on how students schedule. Right now, there's a very high interest in the Start College Now program in those courses. So we scheduled and met with 14 kids on Monday that are already looking at these courses and aware that they're going to be offered and asking about them. So I do think that students will be taking those courses as they're offered. And then finally, Carla Leonard is offering English Composition 1. We may come back to you, right now we're just asking for that course for her. She kind of wanted to walk before she runs, but I have a feeling next year we'll add one more on there. This will be a semester course. What we're doing is that in part of the schedule is we are taking pre-AP from a year-long course to a semester course. We talked at night about what that looks like. We still want to prepare kids for the AP level, and I taught both of those courses as well. So we have a plan moving forward on how to kind of get the most important things taught in that pre-AP course. The reason why we move that to a semester is one of our fears is the AP, it's not a given. They've got to pass an exam with the 3, 4, or 5 to get credits. So when students look at scheduling, our fear was that they may look at, English Comp 1 and say, if I pass that, I get college credit if I pass that course. It's not all contingent upon one exam. It's a lot of pressure for kids. So our fear was they're going to go for what's given and maybe not sign up for that pre-AP and AP. So in order to kind of keep those programs going, we thought, well, as a junior looking at this, they might say, okay, I'm going to do English Comp 1 and get that credit, but I'm also going to prepare for pre-AP. So I could take that exam as well after taking AP and try to get the most credits that I can. This is something that I'll continue to play out depending on how our students schedule, how our students register. That's going to affect what we offer. So right now we're just seeing kind of how it plays out, recognizing that it will be fluid and things may change in the future. And that's all I have.
Good, thank you. Questions?
So just, how many kids, so you said with the one you have like 14 kids, so is there a minimum how many kids have to sign up for those credits or for those extra classes? I mean,
For the ones that will be offered.
the college credit.
Well, the classes will still be offered. They might have 20 kids in there. Not all those kids have to take the class for dual credit through Midstate.
That said, if we only had 2 kids, honestly, I already know we have more than 2 kids in all of these courses, except for maybe one of the math, but those weren't really outlined for the kids, I guess, yet. We were working on this a lot this week, but if we only had 2 kids for English Comp 1, we're probably not running that course because the kids are gonna register elsewhere, and it's not fiscally responsible.
But that being said, and I want to add this, because we offer it, the student can't then decide, well, I'm just going to go to Midstate and take it. No, we offer it, so if they want to take it, they have to take it in-house, if we offer.
Because we're saving us some money too when we keep them here, and we can offer that. Remember last board meeting, I said like, one of our kids has pipe fitting, they'll still be able to go there, that's something we're not gonna bring here, would be fiscally, responsibly, So yeah, we'll still let that kid go for pipe fitting, but Morgan did say, I had in my notes, was it last spring, we are offering, out of the 12 or 14 classes that were offered last semester, the kids went for, over half, 7 or 8 of them would be here now.
And I think you have both of them.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And we would be cutting our numbers down for the kids that are going through Midstate. So again, I don't foresee numbers being an issue, but again, if we have 1 or 2 kids sign up, that's something where we come back to the table and say, well, our kids are registered here, this is the course we have to offer. Right now, again, I don't foresee that being an issue. The courses Tim is offering, those our kids have been taking like crazy. They weren't allowed to take English Comp 1 because it's too closely aligned kind of with our college prep, so we're kind of redoing, kind of looking at those courses and making sure they're not overlapping too much right now, but ultimately, I think we'll have the numbers.
The stats has been a popular course.
Stats this year has really taken off. The one that kids haven't taken so much yet is that intermediate algebra with applications, but because it's being offered, I think that there's going to be a high interest in it because they have one of our teachers here. Intro to stats this year, all of a sudden kids were taking that. We had some students do college math in the past, but that one doesn't transfer at 100 level to UW, so that's why we kind of didn't offer that. The kids that took college math were going to Midstate for a program, so that one's still offered for 1.
Good.
And once the teachers started their program, Carla, they've already been on, Tammy was the other night on her birthday on class. Once they get certified, they can teach all of the classes that they're going to offer. So, like we said, we're only offering a couple of those for fall, And even when they're in the middle class, they don't finish it by fall, but they'll be, as long as they're started.
Any other questions? Okay, I guess we need a motion for this approval.
I'll make a motion to consider approval of amendment 21-22 course description book.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Next item, consider approval of 21-22 Wisconsin School Nutrition Purchasing Cooperative.
This is a 6603 agreement with a whole bunch of other schools across the state of Wisconsin, where we have formed a part of a purchasing cooperative for the past several years. Prior to that, we were with a purchasing cooperative through one of the CISAs, not our own CISA. But this is kind of an offshoot of that. And this allows us to purchase items in food service in bulk with other districts in order to cut our costs. And they negotiate contract prices and other things on behalf of the cooperative. I believe our milk is through the cooperative. So like that gets negotiated out, it's through that. So I'm going to ask your approval of continuing to be a member of this purchasing cooperative.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Item 13, set annual reimbursement rates for per diem meals and mileage.
So each year we have to, according to our policy, and this in part goes with the changes in the federal reimbursement rates, in terms of mileage, each year the board has to set the reimbursement rates. The payable IRS rate this year is 56 cents per mile, and we are asking for no changes to the meal rates of $36 if it's a day of travel, or $46 total if it's a full day at a conference. We're just going to leave those. This year, that would be one of our savings areas, is conferences and meetings and things. So we're just going to ask you to leave those at those rates.
Okay? Any further questions? If not, a motion, please.
So move.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Authorize district administrator to change the remaining in-service days in the 2021 school calendar to coincide with potential mass vaccination dates for school staff.
Okay, so in trying to secure some level of vaccination for our staff when our staff becomes eligible, and in Wisconsin, school personnel are not eligible to receive the COVID vaccine until March 1st, unless they qualify in some other means. You're 65 or you're considered like a quasi-health worker within the school realm. There's a few areas, like our school nurses were already in, but general school personnel are not eligible until after March 1st. So in trying to secure vaccination dates for our staff, after discussions with Marshfield Clinic and Security Health, who is our health insurance provider, and then with Wood County Health, we're, in order to do a mass vaccination clinic for our staff, the soonest possible date that, and it's tentative, that we're looking at is March 19th from Marshfield Security Health. And they are proposing that we do that clinic in conjunction with the clinic that they're tentatively planning with the Wisconsin Rapids Public Schools. March 19th is certainly a school day for us. The way this clinic would work, we would have to have our staff reporting into one of the buildings in Wisconsin Rapids, and then we don't have the logistics of all that determined. And they'd probably be reporting, though, 3 at a time, receive their vaccine, then they'd have to sit 15 minutes, but while we gotta have another group on the queue and another group traveling. We have about We have anywhere from 45 to about 60 members of our staff who are desiring the vaccine. We have 75 staff members. We have a handful, again, that have already been vaccinated. So there is a handful that as well probably at the moment wouldn't be. So really it becomes a logistical challenge to shuttle staff and get them back here and maintaining continuity with our classrooms, with our food service, with our maintenance, because we're gonna have staff in all of those areas seeking the vaccine. And again, those dates are tentative. Right now, if I were a betting person on that, I'd say it may not happen on March 19th. Wood County Health, it's probably gonna be a little longer beyond March 19th. It'd be quite a bit longer before they would be able to accommodate us. And again, these are only if those vaccines are available. The second vaccine date is a little interesting too, depending on the vaccine we would receive. It's either a 21-day change or a 28-day change to the second vaccine. If we were looking at March 19th for vaccine 1, depending on the vendor of the vaccine, we'd either be looking at April 9th or April 16th for vaccine 2. So what I'm asking is your approval for me to have some flexibility. Once I start to be able to pin these dates now, we have 3 in-service dates left: March 5th, April 5th, and May 3rd. So I would ask your flexibility to allow me to change those dates to coincide as best we can with those vaccination clinics to allow for the logistics of this to take place. It would be a little bit different beast if we did this actually in our building. If March 19th doesn't work out, it's a possibility we're doing it in our building. That might be a different beast, but it's still gonna be a logistical challenge. So, you know, it is possible that we don't have March 19th. I would, you know, working with Marshfield Clinic Security Health, they need at least a 2-week, two-week deadline date for us ahead of it. So, you know, they'd be looking to know, I would hope by early March, we'd know. I am probably not moving the March 5th date at this moment. I don't think that one I would move, depending on when Marshfield Clinic can tell us for sure what the deal is, if March 19th is gonna work. If they could tell me next week that March 19th was gonna work, I'd be tempted just to move that March 15th date. I don't think I'm getting an answer from them by next week. And there are in-service things that we need to continue to plan for and do. This won't be a day off per se for the staff. They would still need to report to work, report if they're gonna get the vaccine, do that, come back to work. Obviously, there will be, in working with Marshfield Clinic, they are taking the precautions and things to monitor staff afterwards and to make sure people aren't having adverse reactions. Anecdotally, what I've been told from the folks who've been setting these things up is that vaccine number 1 doesn't tend to have the effect that vaccine number 2 does in terms of maybe some side effects. But from what they're telling us, it's more prevalent for the side effects to kick in after vaccine 2. But it's typically a delayed response. It's not within the first couple hours, it's typically a day later. So I would just ask your flexibility, and I would certainly keep you informed if we're gonna start to move dates around, and we would certainly be getting that out to our parents, to our staff, and all the people we need to our bus company, to do that.
Okay. Any further questions? If not, we need a motion for this?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to authorize the district administrator to change routine in-service days on 2020-21 calendar year with potential mass vaccination dates for the school staff.
Second.
Motion and a second
James.
to allow the adjustments in the in-service dates. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Individual comment, Kathy.
I'm just blown away with all the great things that are going on, both at elementary and high school. I'm just really pleased with what we're doing here in Port Edwards. And I just want to remind everyone to vote on February 16th. It's important. It's the state school superintendent race. So that's the only thing on the ballot here, but get out and vote.
Good.
Yeah, definitely, back up what Kathy said, it's great to see the programs that we have with the CTE and the nice things that the Boys and Girls Club did for the, for that food drive or can drive. And then we just get one more, well, we get actually a couple home games yet, but again, kind of limited on our people that can attend, but we essentially made it through basketball season and both on the boys and the girls side. So watch them on Facebook Live. So and stay warm out. It's cold.
Ben?
Just want to, whatever, same thing Kathy and Carrie said, a lot of good things going on. Just want to recognize our support staff. I was talking to some people and, with this COVID and everything going on, our teachers, administrators done a heck of a job. Our sports staff has really stepped up and had a few parents recognize things they've done for their children during this time. So I just kind of want to make a special note to the sports staff. They do a lot every day, but during the COVID, they've been above every day to help some kids out in needs and other things. So just thank them and hope everybody has spring comes and we can keep on rolling.
The election is obviously critical. Make sure you vote, however you want to do it, whenever you want to do it, or whoever you want to do it for, but make sure you do it. Spring primaries are notoriously poorly attended and participated in, which means that a relatively minute handful of citizens get to pick who the rest of us get to choose in April. So please encourage everybody to exercise their options to vote in the primary. We're looking at a year into the pandemic. In February of last year, this suddenly became evident. And parents and staff and kids have all slogged through in a remarkable fashion. I don't know how many of you saw the report that Dr. Olson and Dr. Falk published. Frederica Freiberg had it on her Here and Now episode on Wisconsin Public Television last Friday. It's got national and international exposure with the school districts in southeastern Wood County. The job that you and our neighboring districts have done based upon Dr. Falk's study is truly remarkable. A year ago, I was sure that in spite of everybody's best efforts, the schools would be a super spreader event, and that hasn't happened thanks to the parents and the staff and the kids. And you're all to be super commended for that in every possible way. If there's a bright spot in this whole dumpster fire of a year, it has to be the way in which the schools have stepped up and tried their very best to give the kids everything they possibly can under circumstances that none of us were trained for and none of us were ever expecting. So congratulations to everybody for doing as good a job as anybody could ever expect you to do. Thank you. We have established a meeting for March 10th. Do we want to do a meeting for April?
14th.
April 14th?
It's on my calendar
Okay. Okay, we meet on April 14th. I'm assuming, like we said, we're back at the elementary school for April
Yeah, the only reason we were moved is we're doing duct cleaning at the other building this evening.
That's fine. Unless anybody has anything else to say, I'll call for adjournment. Motion, second? Yep. All in favor? Aye. 20, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Carrie.
Larry.
All right.